It's 2:13 in the morning. Again, you're lying on your back, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling as if it might offer answers. The room is dark, quiet except for the soft hum of the refrigerator down the hall and the occasional creak of your own house settling into the night. You shift your legs under the covers, trying to get comfortable, but it's no use. You're tired, bone tired, but your mind won't let go. You've already gotten up once to use the bathroom, maybe twice. And now, despite how much you want it, sleep just won't come back. This isn't new. In fact, this has become something of a routine. You go to bed hoping for rest, and you wake up several times through the night wondering if this is just what aging is. You tell yourself, I guess this is just how it goes now, as if waking up 3 or 4 times a night is a quiet punishment for living past 60. You might not even talk about it much. Maybe your partner sleeps soundly beside you, or maybe the bed feels empty and the night even longer. Either way, you've come to expect it. And yet, something in you still hopes. Something in you still believes that sleep, the kind that runs deep and uninterrupted, isn't gone forever. Over the last 30 years, I've sat with hundreds of men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who've come into my office saying the same thing, sometimes whispering it like a confession. Doc, I just want to sleep through the night again. They're not looking for a miracle, not asking to feel 20 again. Just a stretch of peace. A full night without waking up groggy, aching, or feeling like they barely slept at all. One man I remember well, George, 68, a retired carpenter, came in after his wife urged him to. He didn't want to make a fuss, but he told me, it's like my body forgot how to sleep. He'd wake up every 90 minutes like clockwork. Bathroom, sip of water, back to bed, restless mind. He looked tired, not just in his eyes, but in his posture, in the way his words dragged. He'd accepted that this was just part of aging, that maybe he didn't deserve restful sleep anymore. But here's the truth I wish more men like George knew. Poor sleep isn't just about getting older. Yes, the body changes with age. Hormones shift, muscles weaken, the bladder becomes more sensitive. But there are quiet, invisible patterns that most people never talk about, patterns we can influence, gently and naturally. And one of the simplest, most overlooked changes you can make, it starts with what you drink before bed. See, the body is always listening, especially at night, and what we give it in the hour or two before sleep can either calm the nervous system or disrupt it completely. For many men, the habit is simple: a glass of water before bed, maybe out of thirst or just routine. But while water is essential for life, it's not always your friend at night, especially if your prostate has grown larger with age, which, for most men over 55, it has. When the prostate presses against the urethra, even a small amount of fluid in the bladder can trigger that familiar urge. You feel the pressure. You get up, again and again. And every time you interrupt your sleep cycle, your brain has to start over. Instead of sinking deeper into restorative rest, you float in and out of shallow sleep, the kind that leaves you waking up more tired than you were the night before. But there's more. Beyond the bladder, sleep is influenced by a symphony of biological rhythms: melatonin production, cortisol levels, blood sugar stability. After 55, melatonin begins to dip, which makes it harder to fall asleep and stay there. Cortisol, the stress hormone, can spike unpredictably, and if you've eaten a heavy or sugary dinner, your blood sugar may crash around 2 or 3 a.m., prompting your body to wake up in search of fuel. It's not just one thing that disrupts sleep. It's an orchestra of small imbalances, each nudging you closer to another sleepless night. Now, here's where things get interesting. While water hydrates, it doesn't soothe. It doesn't tell your nervous system that the day is over, that it's safe to rest. But certain natural compounds can. What I often recommend to my patients is a warm, carefully crafted nighttime drink, something that replaces water before bed and does far more than quench thirst. Let's talk about what goes into that drink. First, magnesium. You may have heard of it, but most people don't realize just how vital it is. Think of magnesium as nature's chill pill, not a sedative, not a drug, but a mineral your body already knows and loves. Magnesium helps muscles relax. It calms the nervous system. It even supports melatonin production. When your body is low on magnesium, and most older adults are, it's like trying to fall asleep with the brakes on. But when levels are restored, your system softens, your thoughts slow down, your breath deepens, and sleep comes easier. Second, Tart cherry juice, just a small amount, diluted in warm water or an herbal base. Tart cherries are one of the only natural sources of melatonin, the hormone that signals to your brain that it's time to sleep. Unlike synthetic melatonin pills, which can often lead to grogginess or vivid dreams, Tart cherry works gently, aligning your internal clock without overwhelming it. It's like a soft whisper instead of a shout. Then there are herbs, ancient, time-tested, and remarkably effective when chosen wisely. Lemon balm, chamomile, passion flower. These are not trends. These are the same herbs that monks and herbalists have used for centuries to calm the mind and quiet the heart. They don't knock you out, they invite you in to stillness, to warmth, to rest. When blended together in the right amounts, these ingredients create more than just a sleep aid. They create a signal, a message to your body that the day is done, that there's nothing left to fight or fix, that you're allowed to drift. When I first suggested this drink to George, he gave me a look, skeptical but curious. "You sure this isn't just one of those wellness fads?" he asked. And I understood. He'd seen the ads, the overpromises, the overpriced powders. But I told him, this isn't about magic. It's about restoring what the body already wants to do once you give it the right conditions. He agreed to try it for 2 weeks. Every night, about an hour before bed, he made a mug of this warm blend, magnesium, tart cherry, and calming herbs. He turned off the TV a little earlier, sat in his chair, sipped slowly. No phone, no rushing, just quiet. After the first few nights, nothing dramatic happened. But by the end of the second week, something did. Many men, like George, begin their journey toward better sleep with hesitation, even doubt. It's natural to feel skeptical after years of trying different remedies that promised relief but fell short. I remember another patient, Tom, a retired school teacher in his early 70s. Tom came to me carrying the heavy weight of frustration, not just because of his sleepless nights, but because they seemed to erode more than just rest. They gnawed at his confidence, chipped away at his sense of identity. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm fading, not just in sleep, but in everything." Tom's mornings were slow and stiff, his energy drained before breakfast. His once strong voice softened, and he even noticed his intimacy with his wife had dwindled. He was a man who had prided himself on being dependable, active, alert. Sleep loss was stealing more than just hours. It was stealing pieces of himself. What I often see in men like Tom is a subtle yet profound interaction between sleep and vitality that most people overlook. Sleep isn't a single event. It's a complex choreography of hormones, nerves, and cellular repair. When that dance is disrupted, it sends ripples through every part of the body. Testosterone levels dip, circulation slows, the nervous system, deprived of restorative pause, becomes primed for stress rather than calm, and the brain, starved of deep sleep phases, struggles to regulate mood and memory. The body enters a state of chronic tension, even when you're lying still. For Tom, the key wasn't just the nighttime drink, but understanding the role he played in this dance. Together, we explored how his daily habits, late caffeine, skipping movement during the day, the habit of heavy meals near bedtime, were quietly throwing off his internal clock. We made small shifts, an afternoon walk to reset his rhythm, cutting back on caffeine after noon, and mindful eating earlier in the evening. These weren't grand changes, but invitations for his body to find balance again. I explained to Tom how the parasympathetic nervous system, sometimes called the rest and digest system, needed to be nurtured in the evening. When you drink something warm and calming, like the magnesium and tart cherry blend, it activates this system, signaling the body that it's safe to relax and recover. But if you come to bed stressed, overstimulated, or with a bladder primed for urgency, that signal gets lost in the noise. Helping Tom create a ritual that included the nighttime drink, a dimly lit room, and a brief period of quiet reflection helped reprogram his nervous system's response. The emotional effect of these changes was striking. Tom told me he began to feel like himself again, not just because of the hours he gained in sleep, but because he had taken back control. The ritual became a moment of reclaiming dignity and self-care, a quiet rebellion against the idea that aging meant giving up on vitality. For many men, this psychological shift, knowing they can influence their sleep and energy, is as powerful as any supplement or medicine. Biologically, this connection between ritual and rest is profound. The brain thrives on predictability. Our ancestors evolved in environments where the transition from day to night was marked by natural cues, dimming light, cooling air, quiet sounds that prepared the body for sleep. Modern life disrupts those cues with artificial light, screens, and hectic schedules. The ritual of a warm, calming drink restores some of those lost signals, gently coaxing the brain toward melatonin production and the slow-wave sleep critical for repair. Tom's story reminds us that sleep health is deeply intertwined with our emotions and identity. It's not simply about closing your eyes. It's about feeling safe in your own body again, about quieting the internal noise of worry, pain, and frustration. It's about waking with a sense of purpose and energy that spills into every part of your day, your relationships, your passions, your self-respect. This deeper understanding helps men like George and Tom see sleep not as a battleground, but as a journey toward restoration. And it's a journey made easier when we approach it with patience, kindness, and knowledge rooted in both science and human experience. He told me the bathroom trips started spacing out, from 3 times a night to maybe 1. He began waking up with that almost forgotten sensation of having actually slept. He wasn't bounding out of bed like a teenager, but he wasn't dragging either. Most importantly, he said he didn't dread going to bed anymore. That, to me, is everything. I've since recommended this approach to dozens more men, each with their own rhythms, their own challenges. And while not everyone responds the same way, many begin to notice something subtle, yet profound. Their body remembering how to rest. And that's where the transformation begins. Because sleep isn't just about closing your eyes. It's about healing. It's about giving your brain the space to clear out toxins, your heart the chance to slow, your muscles the time to rebuild. It's about entering a state where nothing is required of you. And for men who've spent a lifetime being responsible for everything, jobs, families, bills, that kind of surrender is not easy. But it is necessary. This is not just about a drink. It's about reclaiming something that should never have been lost, the right to deep, uninterrupted sleep. And sometimes that journey begins with the simplest of changes, swapping what's in your cup before bed. You might be wondering how and when to prepare this drink, how to fit it into your routine without turning your whole life upside down. That's where we'll go next. Because the magic isn't just in what you drink, it's in how you prepare for rest. And in just a moment, I'll walk you through that gentle routine that helps the body not just fall asleep, but stay asleep, peacefully, naturally, without effort or strain. But first, let's pause. Because maybe what you need most right now isn't more advice. Maybe it's just someone telling you this. You're not broken. You're not weak for struggling with sleep. And you are absolutely not alone. There is a path forward, and it might be much softer than you think. George's story is not unique, but it is deeply human. It reminds us that change often begins with small, deliberate choices, ones that honor the wisdom of our bodies instead of fighting against them. After all, healing rarely arrives as a sudden flash. It creeps in quietly, like dawn spreading soft light across the horizon. It's in those moments of calm acceptance, the gentle rituals we create, that the body learns again what it means to rest. For George, the nightly ritual of sipping that warm, soothing drink became more than just a health tip. It was a moment to slow down, to reconnect with himself after years of hurried days and restless nights. This simple act, the timing, the warmth, the flavors, sent a message to his nervous system. Safe to let go. The body responded in kind. The bathroom trips decreased, the anxiety about sleep eased, and with that came a newfound sense of hope. It's important to remember, though, that this kind of transformation doesn't happen overnight for everyone. some nights may still feel restless. That's natural. What matters is the shift in momentum, the way small acts accumulate to reclaim something precious that many have lost: peaceful, restorative sleep. So, how do you make this your own? The answer lies in more than just the ingredients. It's about creating a sanctuary for sleep, a sequence of quiet moments that tell your body the day is done. Begin by preparing your drink roughly 60 to 90 minutes before you intend to be in bed. Use warm water, not boiling, just a gentle heat that comforts without overwhelming. Mix in the magnesium powder or flakes, add a splash of Tart cherry juice, and infuse with calming herbs like chamomile or lemon balm. Let the aroma rise softly. Imagine it wrapping around you like a gentle blanket. Sip slowly, deliberately, paying attention to the warmth as it travels down your throat. Let this be a signal not just to your body but to your mind that the transition from wakefulness to rest has begun. During this time, turn down the lights, silence your phone, or place it across the room. Resist the temptation to check emails or scroll through social media. Instead, pick up a book that soothes, or simply sit quietly, allowing your thoughts to slow and soften. If you find your mind wandering, gently bring it back to your breath, the coolness of the inhale, the warmth of the exhale. This is not about forcing sleep, but about creating a state of readiness, a tender invitation for your body to settle into its natural rhythms. The beauty of this approach is that it works with your biology, not against it. It recognizes that after decades of wear and tear, your body needs patience and kindness, not harsh demands. Rest is not a luxury. It is your birthright. It is the sacred time when your brain clears away the day's clutter, when your heart slows its relentless pace, when your muscles renew their strength. If you've spent a lifetime bearing responsibilities, caring for others, and pushing yourself to keep going, then know this: it is okay to let go now, to soften, to give your body the grace of rest. Many men I see feel a quiet shame around their struggles with sleep, as if needing rest is a sign of weakness or failure. But I want to remind you, nothing could be further from the truth. Asking for rest is an act of strength. It is an act of wisdom. It shows a deep respect for the temple of your body and the precious gift of time you still have. When you allow yourself to embrace rest, you're not surrendering. You're preparing to come back stronger, clearer, more present. Tonight, when you feel the familiar pull of thirst or the creeping tension of restlessness, reach instead for something that speaks gently to your body. A warm drink made with care can be the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where sleep no longer feels like an enemy, but an old friend waiting patiently for your return. Try this for yourself. Commit to 3 nights, not with pressure or expectation, but with curiosity and kindness. Notice how your body responds, not just in sleep quality, but in the moments before sleep, in the softness that settles over your mind. Some nights may still be hard. That's normal. The path to restful sleep is rarely straight or smooth, but it is always worth walking. Remember, you're not alone in this. Many men have stood where you stand, feeling the weight of sleepless nights and the frustration of repeated awakenings. And many have found their way back to rest, not through complicated regimens or expensive supplements, but through simple, natural choices made with intention. You can too. As you prepare to rest tonight, take a deep breath and allow yourself to trust the process. Trust that your body remembers how to heal. Trust that peace is possible. Trust that you deserve the quiet strength that comes from truly restorative sleep. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you. If you found this helpful, please consider sharing it with a friend or family member who might also be struggling. Let's build a community where men support one another in reclaiming their health and vitality, one peaceful night at a time. This is Dr. Michael Hanks, wishing you a gentle night and a hopeful tomorrow. May you find rest not just in sleep, but in the deep, knowing that every new day offers a chance to begin again.